Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I'm going to be getting into some creepy kid recommendations. I know we all love a little creepy child. To be quite honest, that is like one of my favorite tropes of all time. So I'm very excited to tell you guys about my top 12 favorite horror and thriller books that feature a creepy little child or multiple creepy little children. If you've never seen a top 12 recommendation from me before, welcome to my favorite type of video to make for you guys, and I think I have a sneaking suspicion y'all's favorite type of video to watch. In this series, I will pick a certain subgenre or trope in the thriller and horror genres and dive in to let you guys know not only a few recommendations that I recommend in that trope, but my actual top 12 books that feature that thing. So obviously in this video, it's creepy kid time. But before we get into the recommendations, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Ana Luisa. I absolutely love Ana Luisa jewelry. I wear it every single day. I am wearing it to my wedding. My wedding is in 2 days and I am wearing it at my wedding on my wedding day. Here is one of their newest pieces. This like adorable star with the little clasp like that. I love a clasp like this in the front. It just feels very modern without being too trendy or not dainty enough for me. Like, it just sits so nicely. And then as always, my earscape is pretty much all Ana Luisa at this point. These two right next to each other I literally love. And of course we have the matching one on that side. I love Ana Luisa jewelry. It's so high quality, carbon neutral. I have super sensitive ears especially, and I never get any kind of weirdness in my earrings, even like up here. I never get redness on my neck when I wear Ana Luisa because it's just so high quality, and it's honestly at such a good price, especially if you are looking to get some really meaningful, high quality gifts for the holiday season for your family and friends. I highly recommend Ana Luisa. Actually, for my mom's birthday just this past month in November, I got her some Ana Luisa. Here's a photo of her with her cute little like safety pin earrings and her dainty little chain. She absolutely loved it and I was so happy that I got to gift it to her. So if you are looking for the perfect Christmas present for anyone in your life, go ahead and check out Ana Luisa down below. They're running some amazing holiday sales, I'm sure. And as always, you can use my code HaileyHughes20 for 20% off. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video, and now let's go ahead and get into the recs. Also, I did mention I am getting married in 48 hours. That is why I have a full beat in my casual outfit with messy hair as I'm sitting down to film this. I know it probably looks ridiculous. I did not think about that. I just went to my makeup trial and my makeup artist absolutely slayed. Like, I love my wedding makeup so much, but yeah, that is why I have a full beat on my face right now. In case you were wondering, I usually don't look like this. If you're new to the channel, I usually am toned down quite a bit. Anyway, creepy kids, let's go. One of my very favorites that kind of started the trend for me that I love creepy kid books is The Push by Ashley Audrain. I love this thriller. It is so beautifully written. A lot of times thrillers just feel very fluffy, very throwaway. You're not really reading it for the writing. The Push though, I read for the writing. The writing style is what kept me reading because it was so haunting and enchanting and beautiful, but also terrifying. We are following a mother who does not connect with her baby. She goes through really rough infertility and she thinks she's never gonna have a child. She wishes for one so bad, and when she finally has one, she doesn't connect with her kiddo. Her husband is kind of gaslighting her the entire time, telling her that it's on her, and of course her insecurities as a new mom are coming out and she's thinking it's totally on me. Obviously there's nothing wrong with my kid. But then they have a second kid and she connects with him immediately, so she starts to wonder what the hell was wrong with her first this child that they were unable to connect. And it gets increasingly and increasingly creepy as we figure out what is going on in the mind of this child, or we question our main character's sanity. So quick, such an easy read, but so beautiful and meaningful. The commentary and conversations around infertility and just like being a woman and being a mother in general in this book are amazing, but it doesn't let you down with those heart-wrenching, horrifying scenes with that little girl. Oh my god, it gives me chills just thinking about it. And a book that's very similar to The Push is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. We have another thriller. I think this one is a little bit more graphic and intense when you compare it to The Push, less of like a literary writing style and more of like straightforward, this is horrifying. We are following a guy who works at a hospital. I believe he's like a doctor of some sort, and he sees this horrible case of child abuse come into the hospital. She can't be sent back to where she came from because it was not a good situation for her. So him and his wife are struggling with infertility, and they decide it's fate. They are gonna go ahead and adopt this little girl. Plus, the people at the hospital noticed that she was already bonding with the doctor, so she felt safer going with them than an adoptive family. It just kind of worked out perfectly. They think it's a dream for everybody, but come to find out, Janie has a lot going on that they did not bargain for. And they start to feel tension in the house, specifically between the daughter and the mother. Oh, this little child has it out for the mom. Or is the mom going crazy? We don't know. It's kind of the same trope as The Push, where the husband is a gaslighting asshole and you're mad at him the whole time because you just want him to see what she's going through. An allegory for motherhood? Maybe. But The Perfect Child is just heart-wrenching, horrifying the entire way through. I could not put it down because I could not believe this little girl and what she was up to. The only thing that took away from this book is the ending is so abrupt and it kind of leaves you reeling and wanting more. I did not see the twist coming for the life of me, but I also wasn't satisfied at the end. Lucinda Berry, I think, tried to remedy that. She came out with a follow-up novella called A Welcome Reunion, and I read that this year. I was kind of underwhelmed by it, and it had the same like kind of abrupt ending that the book had. So I don't know, maybe that's just her style, but I wasn't quite vibing with the ending. I do still think it's worth a read though. After all, it made it in the top 12. Let's dip our toes into horror a little bit. We have Spider Sight by Tirza M.M. Hawkins. I absolutely love this book. It's definitely more horror because we have some like unrealistic, fantastical elements going on here. We're following a little girl who believes that she can see spiders that nobody else sees. And they're crawling all over the walls, whispering in her ears, telling her to do bad things or carrying out those bad things themselves. And of course, when she tells her parents about this, her parents are like, okay, either she's got something going on with her vision or she needs some psychological evaluations because this is not real. She's just having like some imaginary friend, which is fine for a child, but it gets increasingly concerning when people start dropping dead around their little girl, and it goes off from there. I could not stop reading this from page one. It was such a fun reading experience. Definitely like less commentary heavy than the two previous recommendations, but so fun and fast-paced. The horror was horror. Okay, it was not just like disturbing things happening in a book, like it was horror. It made my skin crawl. If you like creature feature and creepy kids, this is the perfect book for you. I have a drunk reading vlog of this book up on my Patreon that I filmed for my top tier, and it was so fun to film and to edit. Honestly, I had a blast with it. The reading experience of this book just like lives in my mind rent free. It was amazing. And staying with horror, I want to recommend Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. This one is a super short horror novella. I think it's about 60 to 80 pages long and not long at all. And it's about this guy who sees is something happening at the grocery store. A little child is throwing a tantrum. It's over sour candy, and he's just like, wow, thank God I don't have a kid. Can you imagine dealing with that? I can relate to that. I fear, I identify with that. He goes on about his life, kind of chuckling at the kid in the grocery store. Little does he know, that kid in the grocery store and him, their paths have crossed, and he's never gonna be the same. Things go absolutely off the rails, and this kid starts to intrude on this man's life in a way that I really can't describe how horrifying it is. If I was in this man's position, I would drop kick this kid across the planet, and I don't even think that would stop him. It seems like an impossible situation, like he's stuck, and you're on our main character's side as he tries to get out of it. This is like textbook creepy kid horror, where he's like looking at you like this, licking a lollipop. Like, if you want something like that, like demonic child will not let me go, sour candy. Next up, I have some more thrillers for you. We have Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough, and this book has one of my favorite little moments to have in a creepy kid book, and that is when they're drawing creepy pictures. I just get like chills every time I think of a child like happily drawing away, and then they turn the photo and it's like a demon. Yeah, that moment in like Insidious and horror movies like that, ooh, it gives me the chills every single time, and this book is basically that. We're following a woman who's about to turn 40, and she is dreading this day because when her own mother turned 40, she went absolutely off the rails and had a mental breakdown. So she is just like, in her mind, she's going to have the same thing happen to her. And her child's also acting super weird and feeling like he's picking up on signs that mommy's going insane. The pictures that he draws of her start to look warped and weird, and she's losing time in the middle of the night where she all of a sudden is above him, like with her hands on his neck. So she worries that not only is she a danger to herself, but maybe she's a danger to her child too. And I know this sounds like it's a creepy mom thriller, but really, it's the kid too. They're in it together. So we are trying to figure out what has a hold of this family, because it's generational, and how can they break out of it? We have an unreliable narrator, we have paranoia, we have lots of loss of sleep, as you can probably tell by the title Insomnia, because things happen at night. It's kind of like a Paranormal Activity movie. It's not boring like that, actually. This is very exciting, and I hate the Paranormal Activity movies, but it's kind of like everything's chill during the day, but as soon as it turns to night, things go wrong. Yeah, the feelings of dread and suspense in this book are top notch. Great twists. I love the ending and the message at the ending. It's a really underrated one, I feel. Next up, I want to share with you a short horror story collection, and that is Daymares by Kenya Moss Dime. And in this short story collection, there are many themes of creepy children that come through in different ways, whether it's like a child who resents their step-parent and wants to do something about it, or like a Children of the Corn-esque kind of story. You can probably tell by the cover, there is a lot of like creepy child standing in a hallway. It's just like creepy child horror to the max. And I love that there are so many different takes on this trope in this collection. Some of the stories were a little bit slow and not my favorite, but a few of them really stand out as being like some of my favorite creepy kid content, especially the one with the step-parent, and the one like there's like a guy driving alone at night on this country road and this girl is just on the side of the road. Oh, that is my nightmare. Those are so good, and I believe this one is on Kindle Unlimited as well. Next up, we have Baby Teeth by Zoya Stage. I absolutely love this book. I know like when it first came out, it was getting bad reviews. I don't know why, because I love this book. In this book, we get the perspective of the creepy kid and the mother who's trying to deal with her. So we're seeing both sides and kind of developing a relationship and empathy for both sides of the equation here. And there's no like unreliable narrator piece, because we know exactly what's going on in our villain child's head, and we know if mom is going crazy or not. So it adds a different element to that same structure that we kind of follow in The Push or The Perfect Child. I love getting this creepy little child's voice, and the audiobook is so good. The whole time it keeps you guessing, and you are also feeling this like building of tension and suspense. What is going to happen? Why is this child torturing her mother, and how is it going to come to a head and explode? There is really, really great chronic illness rep in here. The only thing that I didn't love, again, very similar to The Perfect Child, the ending was a little abrupt, and I feel like there was no like resolution at the ending. So if that annoys you, maybe this won't be your favorite book, but for me, oh my god, I don't know. It just like lived in my head rent free. I thought about it for hours after I finished it. I was like, how are we just gonna leave it there? Like, what possibly happened? And it kind of like let my mind run with it a little bit. This is just one of the most visceral reading experiences that I've had. I love creepy kid books for that reason. Like, it gives that feeling. You know what I mean if you love this type of book. It gives that feeling, and this one does it so well. Next up, let's talk about The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. I feel like I recommend this one all the time. It is one of my all-time favorite novellas, and that is for good reason. It's very, very short. It's only 60 pages, so it goes very, very quick, but we are following a woman who is kind of down on her luck. She is pretending to be like a palm reader, and really that's not where she makes the most of her money. She makes her money by giving in the back room. So you could say she's a palm. She works with palms. It's like darkly funny in that way. And that is what I love about this book. It's like the perfect balance between dark humor and actual horror. Because one day a woman comes in and she's just desperate. She's like, what can you do? Can you read my palm, read my future, and tell me what to do with this fucking kid that I have at home? And she's like, you know what? If this lady's gonna pay me to deal with her kid, I might as well. I'm down on my luck. I'll take whatever I can get. So she goes to meet this kid, and she gets more than she bargains for. It's definitely not worth the price that the mom pays her to go deal with this kid, and things go absolutely off the deep end. Out of all the kids in all of these books that I'm talking about, I feel like I would at least enjoy coming into contact with the one from The Grown Up. He's bad. It's so quick, so creepy, so well written, so fun, just great. Next up, I want to talk about Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. And of course, this is a modernization of Turn of the Screw, a classic horror story. I love what Ruth Ware did with it. We're following a nanny who's taking care of two kids in an isolated high-tech mansion in this creepy location. And these two little girls that she's taking care of, they just know how to give her the heebie-jeebies and freak her out. But she's like, you know what? It's nothing. It's no big deal. It's just the house settling. The girls aren't seeing ghosts. Or are they? And the whole time we're trying to figure out what is going on in this house. Is it the girls themselves? Is the house haunted, or is there something else going on? Or perhaps, as always is an option in a thriller, the woman is crazy. Spoiler alert, it's not that. I hate when thrillers do that, so it's definitely not that. I had such a good time with this book. I read it in one sitting, and I know that the ending is very controversial, but I loved it. That final twist on the last page of a Ruth Ware book just really works for me, and the atmosphere in this one really makes it stand out from Ruth Ware's backlist. It's rainy, it's dreary. If you're having like a rainy day and you just want to like cozy up with a creepy kid book, this is the one. And very similar to that one is The Nesting by C.J. Cook. If you like Turn of the Key, you'll like The Nesting, and vice versa, because they're very, very similar. Both takes on Turn of the Screw, but slightly different. They definitely end up going in different directions, at least, which I won't give away. But in The Nesting, we're also following a nanny who's taking care of two little kids in an isolated estate. It's not a high-tech mansion like the one in the Turn of the Key, and the dad is actually there on site with the nanny in The Nesting. But he's not much use taking care of his kids because he is grieving the death of his wife, which is why he needs help around the house and with his girls. However, the girls start acting creepier and creepier, and the woods around the estate turn more and more threatening, as does the weather, as their house is located on the side of a cliff. And our main character grows more and more wary of this dad, and she wishes she did maybe a little bit more research before taking this job. I liked The Turn of the Key just a little bit better than this one, but they're so comparable. I had to recommend this one as well. Getting into our last couple recs here, we have Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak, and I know this one is controversial as well, but I absolutely loved it. I see no issue with it at all. I don't think you need to read into it. It's a fun, crazy, ridiculous thriller. It's not trying to have any commentary, okay? If you read into this, you could definitely end up in a place that's a little concerning. But if you just take it for what it is and its ridiculousness, I think you can really enjoy it. Again, we are following a nanny, but the parents are in the home this time around and they just need somebody to basically watch their kid during the day. She is happy to do it, but this kid starts drawing creepy pictures, specifically creepy pictures that depict scenes that happen in the woods behind the house. She's like, oh, that's funny, like a demon, haha, where does that take place? And he's like, in the backyard. Can you imagine? Can you actually just imagine that for me for 1 second? There's probably nothing that scares me more in this world than a child saying something out of pocket. That is the setup for this book, but it goes in a completely wild direction that you will literally never guess. The twist in this book had me in a chokehold. I enjoyed it so much. Again, we have that creepy, isolated atmosphere and the questions, the paranoia of, am I going crazy, or is this kid a wacko, or is there something else going on? Keeps you in suspense the entire time, and the payoff is so good. It had a satisfying ending. I loved it. And last up, I have a super underrated thriller pick for you, and that is Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney. We are following two families whose babies were switched at birth. The mothers gave birth in the same hospital on the same day, and they ended up going home with the wrong kid. Of course, our family with the creepy kid is relieved to get their lovely angel child back to them. However, the other family, they're in for something they had no idea, that their child was a menace. And on top of that, the adults have their own drama. There's a little twinge of like rich people drama, scandalous suburban thriller vibes to this one. And it goes so crazy. Like, this one is beyond just the twists with the kid and the creepiness of the kid. There's also a question of like ethics and morality in the adult characters in these books, and so many twists around that. This book is another one that just had me in a chokehold. Like, I kept trying to imagine myself in this situation and my mind would just short circuit. Like, how would you deal in these circumstances? Because I wouldn't. I would just see myself out, to be real. If you like morally gray or like ethical dilemma type of thrillers, you will love this one, especially if you're looking for that combined with a creepy kid trope. So those are all of my creepy kid horror and thriller book recommendations for you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to go down below and check out Ana Luisa for gifts for the holidays for your family, friends, or yourself. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. I will see you guys in my next video, and when I see you next, I will be a married woman.